All right. I hope I'm on the right page and I hope I'm actually live. There- There's been a couple times where I've sat down and talked to my video for a while and realized I wasn't live. So bear with me here. Um, Sunday morning, so I'm not sure how many people are going to jump on. So I'll give it a few seconds and then we can kind of dive into this. Also, a forewarning, if you're ever watching like Micah's like power hours or team calls or maybe another coaches too, and there's like a distraction and it's like her kids coming up and stuff, and you're like, okay, like legit distraction, it's okay. Well, if that happens, it's because my dogs, I have two dogs and they are my kids. So that's just how it is. Micah, can you see me? Okay. Also, we live in our camper, and so as you can see, so we're in nature right now. All right, you guys. Well, I will just start out by introducing myself. My name is Kennedy, and I've been coaching for a year now. And I'll tell you a little bit about my story and kind of how I got into coaching. All through college, I followed Micah because I knew her brother somehow. And anyway, I followed her and I watched her and was like, what is she doing? Like, whatever she's doing, I want to be a part of this. And it just never was the right time because I played college and volleyball and it wasn't going to happen. And so once I got out of college, I messaged her and asked her a few questions. She sent me some videos and information, and I signed up right away. Like I was like, I'm getting in on this. This is something that I want to be a part of. So the first like 2 to 3 months as a coach, I went like super strong. I wouldn't say I was like super successful, but I was like on top of my power hour. I was doing the vitals and I was like all gun ho, like going all in for it. And then I started my first year of teaching. And I did my student teaching and my first year teaching kind of combined because I taught on an Indian reservation and they had such high demands for teachers that it was okay, like I could do that. And I like fell off the planet. Like I was nowhere to be seen in the coaching world. And then I would kind of peek back up and resurface and then dip down. And it was just kind of this roller coaster game. And looking back, it wasn't because I was so busy with teaching and with this new life and stuff that I couldn't incorporate coaching. It was because I didn't have a reason, a big enough priority on coaching to make it work. And that is one of the hugest, like the biggest points that I have is why I totally turned it around is because I had to sit down and decide, like, because I came up on my 1 year and I was like, I can't keep doing this and be okay with just like halfway doing it and not showing up sometimes and then showing up. Like, it's not going to work. That's not how you're successful with it. And so I kind of had to sit down and figure out like why I'm doing this, why is it important, and where do I see myself going. And that is when it totally shifted for me because beforehand, I had always made goals. Like I wanted to hit Success Club. I wanted to do my power hour. I wanted to help this many people, but it was just kind of like your basic goals, like the bare minimum of a goal. And at that point, I knew people could be successful with this, but I just didn't know if I could be successful with this. And I hadn't totally, I don't want to say bought into the idea, but that's exactly what it was. I was just still kind of on the fence. Like I knew I wanted to do this, but I just didn't know if I could. And so I sat down and I said this. I had to think of like why I want to do this. Like once my 1 year mark comes up, I'm either in or I'm out. Like it's one or the other. And I kind of figured out that the reason, and this is like a long ways down the road, but one of the main reasons that I want this lifestyle for myself is because I don't want to be a teacher until I'm 60 years old and like that crabby butt teacher that you would have. Like, one, I don't want to be that. Two, I want to have a family one day, and that's like way down the road, like 5 years or more. But when we do, like, I want to be able to stay at home and have a family and not have to send them to daycare because I have to go to a job. And I want to be able to provide finances for my family, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom. And that is like my biggest reason why I want to do this. Like, so far down the road, but it's something that gets me up to date every single morning. Like, okay, I have to do my power hour because I have big goals now. Like, I have something driving me instead of, well, I guess I'll go for Success Club 5 like this month. Like, that sounds awesome. Like, no, like, now I have big goals. Now I have something that like I feel extremely passionate about, which is something I did not have before. Like, I didn't have this huge momentum or driving force that told me like, hey, I can do this. And this is because I have this end goal and I'm not going to let anything stop me from reaching that. And so, yeah, so that was one of my big turning points is I finally found my why, like why I want to do this, why this is amazing. And so that was one of the biggest adjustments for me. And then kind of the second half of my mind shift. Oh, Micah wanted me to pop on today because we're talking about mind shift and how I went from like falling off the planet to resurfacing. And so that's what we're talking about today, if you missed that. And so the second half of my kind of what pushed me into making this mind shift is, okay, so now I have my big goal. Now I know what I'm striving for. Now I know what I'm working for. Now I have to figure out how I can reach that. And the beauty in this type of business is I knew from the beginning that you can be successful because other people are, because Mike is successful, because she has so many successful coaches underneath her. And it's just doing like the daily vitals. It's literally you, if you do that every single day, like you will be successful. And I knew that from the beginning, but I still was like, meh, I don't know. And so one of the main things that switched that into being like, okay, yes, I can do this, is I actually invested in my time and my money into personal development. And before I was like, no, like that's not for me. Like, I don't need a self-help book to tell me how to run my life. And like, shame on me, because nobody is above bettering themselves. Like, nobody is above sitting down and reading something that's going to better themselves. So shame on me and shame on you if you have that mindset, because it has totally like changed my perspective. Because there are times where I have learned just in a year, like I'm nothing special. I haven't been coaching for a long time, but in the year that I have, like, you're going to go through maybe some dry spells, or sometimes where you're working hard and you're doing the daily vitals and the things that you should be doing, but just nothing's surfacing at the moment. And so you have to have something positive. You have to grab onto the positives and stay through that and stay focused on that, because that's what's going to keep you pushing forward and kind of set on your goal and your vision. And it's super easy, like once you get the excitement. Like, for example, in the beginning of this month, I signed 4 coaches, which I have never done. Like, I have never signed up a coach in my life. Well, like a coach who's actually going to work the business. And so I had all of this like spark and momentum and energy. And all of those coaches came from like talking to them like 3 months before. Like, I had been doing the vitals and I had been doing what you need to be doing, but it just hadn't been surfaced yet. And so it's like that hard work, it's not going to be right away. It's going to take time. But if you continue to work hard and stay positive, your hard work is going to pay off. And so that was also one of the biggest things that I learned. And also coming off of like that high of like finally signing some coaches. And then now I kind of dip back down and I'm like doing the connections and everything behind the scenes, but keeping that energy and that passion and that drive for my new coaches to be, a good example and to be a good atmosphere for them, but also for those newcomers that I'm talking to stay that positive and energetic, So yeah, that's kind of my story and where I'm at today. I'll talk a little bit about kind of how I shifted into getting more coaches instead of just like discount coaches and challengers. So in my first year, in the beginning, I sent out a lot of coach invites and I didn't get really like any response. And so I was like, okay, well, I haven't really been doing this for a long time. So maybe that's just the way it goes. And it might be that way. And so I don't think in like the first year I sent very many coach invites. And if I did, I didn't really mean it. You know, I just sent them because I was like, well, Micah told me to, so this is what I'm doing. And so that's what I do. And I totally shifted that mindset when we did the coach sneak peek this last time, or this coach Snoop group. And I took advantage of it because I kept asking Micah, like where can I be most successful? Like, what do I need to work on right now? And she said, you need to get coaches. And I was like, okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll get coaches. And so I sent out invites. And the difference from when I sent them out before is I actually took time and went through like hashtags and found people that I was like, oh, like I like their Instagram. Oh, like, hey, I do this too. I have a dog too. Like, we could be friends. Like, I like her vibe. And so I actually took time to do that, to find some people that I was like, I think I would like them in real life, and sent them an invite. And that's how I got coaches. It wasn't like beforehand, just like I had to hit the numbers. I had to send out this many invites. I actually took time and found some people that was like, I would hang out with them in real life, and I want to hang out with them in like virtual life, you know, or whatever. And so that's where I got my coaches from this month, is because I was very targeted with the people that I wanted to invite. And I did a really good job following up, which is one of my like huge weaknesses. I'm terrible at following up. And so that was something that I was focused on and making my strength for this month. And it's so fun. Like, you guys, like I said, I had never had a coach sign up with me, like a coach sign up with me in like forever, like ever until this last month. And now we do like team calls, and now like it's just so fun. Like this, I don't want to exclude anybody, but like I don't even want to send out challenger invites, because I just want coaches, because it's so much fun waking up and like seeing their Instagram and seeing where they're growing and seeing that they're helping people and that they're impacting and that you're playing a role in that too. It's awesome, you guys. So don't be afraid of sending them, because I have a lot that are like either won't reply, but they'll follow me, or they'll reply and say like not interested, but like you're awesome or whatever. And you know, like for a fact that they're going to come around. Like for a fact, I can almost guarantee you, like not 100%, but a lot, that they're going to watch you after you send that invite, and they're going to think of like, okay, what is she doing? Like, why does she look happy? Why does she have a job that she actually loves? And how does she work from home and make an income? Like, they're going to watch you, and they're going to start asking questions. And that's all we can do, is send the invite and spread the opportunity that we have, which is an amazing opportunity to help others and to better our own lifestyle. And so that's our job, is to just spread that message. I haven't been reading the comments, so I don't know if there's any questions. But I think I'll talk about this last thing, just kind of what I do in my power hour. And I do exactly what Micah tells me to do. That's what I do. So if she's telling you to do something, then you need to do it. But I do, so let's see. I do 15 cold invites to challengers, and then I do 15 cold invites to coaches. And I know for a fact I do way more than 15 now, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want more coaches. This is awesome. But I count out 15, and then during my power hour, and then throughout the day, I'm like swiping through Instagram or whatever, and I something pops up on my feed. I'll go through the whole process again about inviting coaches. If I see somebody that I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So I do that, and then I connect. I go back through my list, my A to Z lists, and I just connect with people, on comment on their stories, comment on their pictures or whatever. And then I go out and I search hashtags and try to find new people. Okay, I see a question. Like, you find your people and straight up ask them, or wait a while to ask them? I straight up ask them. Like, if I like them, I like a lot of their pictures, I'll comment on them, and then I just ask them right away. That's not always how it goes, but if it's like during my power hour where I'm like very intentional that I need to get this many invites in for the day, then I'll straight up ask them. One thing that I have learned, though, between sending just like, because I know some people do an invite splits and some people do it every day. I invite every day just because that's how my brain works and I have to stay organized. But if it's during my power hour, yeah, I'll just straight up ask them and invite them. And then I also see that kind of as like a gateway to start a conversation, because if they reply yes or no or whatever, like I'll just start a conversation anyway. Like, oh, no worries. Like, what kind of health journey are you on? Or what workouts do you do? Or what grade do you teach? Or whatever. I just start a conversation out of it. I'll go back and see if there's any other questions. You're welcome. I hope that helps. The funny thing about this, you guys, when Mike asked me to do this, like, it's really awesome, but you guys have to realize, like, I'm nothing special. Like, I don't do anything like fantastic. I'm a diamond coach. That's it. Like, there's so much more above me, but all I do is what Micah tells me. Like, all I do is the vitals every single day. And that's where I've been seeing my most success, is by just being very consistent and doing nothing special. I keep it very basic. And it's starting to show and pay off. So that's the best advice that I've gotten, is to keep it very basic and simple, and do the essentials and be consistent with it. All right. Oh, I hid the comments. Here we go. When you are sending cold invites, how are you wording it? It looks a little different for a coach versus a challenger invite. But pretty much I say, like, I totally admit to, like, I just stalked your profile, because that's how I would talk. Like, I just really creeped you hard. Sorry about that. Like, don't be freaked out, but you seem like my kind of person, and I would love to talk to you more about that. I coach and mentor girls into fitness and health and the business side of it. And if you want to, learn more about that, I would love to share that with you. I use, Micah sent me some scripts, and so I use those, but I just kind of tweaked it a little bit to fit me a little bit more. So I know they have some scripts, and so that's what I use. I just make it sound more like me. And so it's not like so robot-y, or you can tell it's just this invite that's sent out hundreds and hundreds of times or whatever.
Not right now, sweetie.
I hope that helps. I don't know. Let's see. Is there anything else? So yeah, just to recap, I would say if you're like me and you're kind of like on the fence, either with like believing you can do it, or on the fence with like committing fully, then you have to like sit down and you have to figure out like your why. Like, you can't go through this and waste a year like I did, because you didn't have your crap together and you didn't know why you were really doing this. You just knew that this was awesome and something you wanted to be a part of, but in reality, you don't have something that's pushing you every single day. That's almost like so far out of your reach, but it is in your reach, that it keeps you fired and fueled and passionate about what you're doing. And then you have to like find a personal development book that you connect with, that's going to keep you fired and fueled through those times that you're like kind of second guessing, or it's just a dry time. You're working hard and nothing's coming of it yet. You have to find something and hold on to it and be positive with it. Micah asked, what's your exact flow once you invite to coaching and they want info? So I send my invite, they message me back, and they want, Here, one second. Dog on the loose. We have a black lab and a corgi, and our lab just runs circles around the camper in the morning, every single morning. Anyways, so I send my coach invite and they want information. And so I just tell them a little bit about what I do. Well, you know, I'm pretty much doing exactly what you're doing because I target those accounts that are already posting fitness stuff and have a passion for it. And I'm like, all I'm doing is what you're doing. I share my health and fitness journey. I mentor ladies into running a business and sharing their journey. And then I connect with like-minded women who want to make a change, and I help them do that. And I make an income for it. And then I send them, I tell them I have this message that I have saved. And it's like, you know, we're doing a sneak peek into coaching right now. It's just a series of videos about coaches talking about what coaching is and how we do it and things like that. I'd love to get you plugged in so you can learn a little bit more, because it's way better than what I could tell you pretty much. And then I tell them to find me on Facebook, because I don't want to go through finding them. That sounds bad. But they find me on Facebook, and if they don't, I follow up with them. I start their message and then follow up with them. And then I get them plugged into that Coach Snoop group right away. And then I comment on the first video and say, watch this. And I give it a day or two and I check back in, and I kind of have to like lead them along, some of them, because I'm sure like life gets busy and distracted. And so you kind of just have to keep reminding them in a friendly way. And most of them are very receptive to that. Like, oh, thanks. Like, I totally forgot, or I got super busy. Like, I'll go watch the next video. And then I'll just follow back up again. And once they have their thoughts, or like I'll ask, like, you know, I'd love to answer any questions along the way. We'll talk about it, and then we'll go from there and get them signed up to see what works for them or what package appeals to them. But yeah.
We don't have
so
any ice
that's
cream.
exactly what I do. I think the Coach Snoop group is an amazing tool to have. And this one was awesome. Like, so awesome that it speaks for itself, and it sells itself, because the coaches that are talking in there did an amazing job. And that's where I got most of my coaches, is right after they watched that, they were like, okay, I want it. So yeah. Anything else?
That's all we got right now, Gracie. Sorry.
I don't know about that, but okay. Anything at all? I wrote out like an outline of what I was supposed to talk about, and I didn't follow it at all. So it was jumping around, messy. But that's what I've been doing. Like I said, nothing special, nothing out of this world or out of this reach. It's all very basic, and it's all simple as it can be, because it doesn't need to be anything crazy or things like that. Just as simple as it can be. Okay. What is your go-to PD? So the first book I actually read when I was like, okay, I need some like positive change in my life, was The Compound Effect. And it's actually like the business side of like working a business and your mindset for that. And I love it because I previously listened to this pastor talk about the person you want to be in 5 years. And the reality is that most of us like have this image of who we want to be in 5 years. And most of us won't be that person, because who we are in 5 years is what we're doing right now. It's those daily habits that you're doing every single day right now that's going to change you in 5 years. And so that's kind of what the compound effect talks about. It talks about making small habits consistent and daily. And so I love that one because it kind of got my butt into gear with, so good. With making daily habits for like my business side and doing them every day, and then making daily habits as far as like, I want to be a better person. This is what I need to do to be a better person. So that one's really cool. And I like the business side of stuff. I like learning about that. And then I'm currently reading Girl Wash Your Face, and oh my gosh, she is a crack up. Like, she is so funny. So definitely that one. And then I have a stack of them. I'll have to go through them. But that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I said, I just began this whole personal development endeavor, and I watch a lot of podcasts too. I'll go on just to the coach call that they have every Monday on the podcast, and I'll just listen to like 2 a day. And then I listen to Melanie Mitro's Business Tip Tuesday. I listen to lots of those just because I think it's really good personal development to listen to people that are successful at what we're doing and hear, their insight, their wisdom on it, as well as like their passion and to stay positive and motivated to one day being, like them and as impactful and influential as them. So yeah, I feel like how much time do you spend working your business daily? I set aside an hour every single morning. I do an hour, and sometimes I was telling my coaches this because they were telling me, because I gave them kind of some numbers of invites to send out, and they were telling me that it's like taking them for freaking ever because one, they're new, and two, that I'm sure they get distracted. And so I do my power hour for about an hour, but sometimes if I don't have a lot of time, I'll set a timer and I'll say, okay, I'm doing coach invites for this much time. That's all. That's the amount of time I have. This is how many I'm getting in. Or sometimes I'll go for the numbers, but I do an hour of intentional work. And then just throughout the day, because as a teacher, like I'll go into my second year this year, which is also something I want to retire from, which is another big, like, why I'm doing this. But I don't have a lot of like big amounts of time. I have lots of pockets of time, and that's even how my day is now. And so I spend way more than an hour because I'm super good at just sending quick invites as I pop on, or connecting, like going through my A to Z list. If you haven't watched Micah's most recent Power Hour, like it is the most like brilliant thing ever. Like it's awesome. It's where you categorize your lists and your people into A to Z. And then it's so easy and organized just to click back through and connect and to comment on their stories and stuff like that throughout the day. And so that's something that I don't necessarily set a time in my power hour for. It's something I can do super easy just throughout the day. Does that make sense? Also, this is kind of something that I was telling my new coaches too. I don't know if it has any relation to what we're talking about, but earlier I got asked if I just send cold invites without connecting, and I do. I do. Like, I have no problem doing that because I think a lot of people just don't know about the opportunity. And so once you send that invite, even if you haven't talked, like now they're aware, and now like they may say they're not interested, but part of them has to be like kind of interested, right? But I also have learned the value in actually taking time and connecting with people, because beforehand, like I was just sending invite because I had to get to this number. I had to fill in my list. And 1 second. But I wasn't going back and like following up or making connections or relationships with these people. And that was a huge mistake because one, like they have to trust you. Like cold invites are great and it's a gateway into a relationship and a conversation is the way I see it. But two, like you have to like fuel that relationship. You have to like find something you're interested in with them or something you share in common. And then kind of let that relationship grow on its own. And that's something that I totally underestimated with with this part of the business, is making those relationships. And so that's something that I spend a lot of my time on in my day doing, because one, it's like way more fun when you enjoy the people you talk to. And two, it goes a long ways. I had one coach that I signed in June, and I have been like creeping her profile for like 5 months, like seriously. But I was like, oh my gosh, she's perfect for this. Like, I love her. Um, she's awesome. I would like want to be her best friend in real life. And I just like kept talking, like commenting on her stories, like not even like fitness related or invite related. Just like, oh my gosh, like where did you get your swimsuit? Or that looks like an awesome recipe or whatever, you know? And so that went a long ways because 5 months later, she finally signed up and she's a rock star. She's awesome. And so, yeah, relationships are huge. Connections are huge. Invites are big. All right. Any other questions? I have a big success story because my phone is stacked up on a big pile of books and it hasn't fell over yet. All right. Well, that's all I have. Like I said, it was just kind of a jumbled mess, but that's the way it is. And that's how I've been doing things. But if Micah is telling you to do something, the best advice that I have for you is to do it because she knows her stuff and she wants you to be successful. And so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I don't have all the answers, but I know somebody who does. So feel free to message me. All right, you guys, happy Sunday and have a good day.